Hi everyone, this is Joe from the JodoCast. If you enjoy what we do here at the JodoCast and think it's worth your hard-earned money, you can support the show via Patreon. The show is ad-free and we depend on the support of our generous patrons to pay our bills, upgrade old equipment, and bribe Imperial officials. Just a $2 donation gets you access to exclusive content such as off-topic discussion videos, uncut videos of the show, the ability to watch us record the show live and even chat with us as we do so, access to the patron exclusive channel on our Discord server, access to YouTube videos before anyone else gets to watch them, and more. Consider becoming a Noodle Scooter today. And now back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the JodoCast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode, I have no idea, because it's been so long, but I'm willing to bet.
130 blankety blanks.
Yeah, 130X.
I think 6? 36?
You know what? You might be right. You know what? Yes. Look at that.
We should. Yeah, I like the 130X better. It makes me feel like I'm watching an anime from the 90s.
And then that's when everyone's podcasters split in half. Shing! I'm Evan Lewis. That's Leo Andre. Hi, Leo.
Hey.
Hey. We don't have a Joe because he went out for groceries and never came home. At least that's what I took from his various text messages. So while Joe is wandering the aisles at...
Yes. Any of our listeners who in Tucson, please form a search party. Go find him and rescue him.
Search party of 2.
Dufresne.
Yes! I hope some listeners caught that. Well, since Joe's not here, actually, what's going to be really funny is that everyone will still have heard Joe because of his patron ad at the front. So he's still here. I was going to say post-mortem, but that's assuming that he's dead. Which, I mean, we don't think he's dead, but if he did turn out to be dead, that'd be really gross, like Brandon Lee in The Crow killed while filming, kind of gross. But we're gonna move past that. Move past, move on. We've got lives, and so do the patrons, who, because that's a segue, who help us out so generously at patreon.com/thejodocast. And what kind of things do they do for us? They give of themselves so that we may give to them.
They keep these audio files hosted.
They do. They are the ones through whom all things are possible.
They buy Joe goofy old Ewok board games from the 80s to make videos up with.
You know, I'm not the type that would buy goofy old 80s Star Wars board games, but thank goodness Joe is that person. He pretty much made October anything whatsoever for us because of Ewoktober. I don't think we actually did anything for the month of October.
No, we talked about doing a movie commentary for one of the Ewok films, but schedules never quite aligned for us there.
They did not. And as the, of the 3, you got to have one person who's serious. And then everybody else gets to be, ha 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 ha. Like, you and Joe are like the 2 robots. And I'm like Joel, right? Like, I'm the serious one, and you get to be the goofballs. How can I be the serious one watching the Ewok movies? Like, what am I going to say about that? I can't be the straight man on the Ewok movies. So which one are you? Are you Tom Servo, or Crow. And since Joe is not here, you get to pick.
I think between me and Joe, I would probably be the Crow, and he would be the Tom.
Think so, yes.
I mean, if I were to choose for myself, I would rather be the Tom instead of the Crow.
Oh.
But I think if, realistically between me and Joe, I would be the Crow.
I don't know. I think Crow's the way to go. Once you go Crow, you never go Bo. That's what they say on the streets.
Now I'm just thinking of that one episode. Is it Werewolf? I think where Mike turns into he turns into a crow for a while. Like, because they're watching the movie
right?
Werewolf, and like the joke is like a guy accidentally scratches himself on like a werewolf tooth from a skeleton they were excavating and turns into one.
Wow.
And then I don't know, like Mike cuts his hand on Crow's on one of Crow's bolts or something. I don't even remember. And then so then he has like this creepy like big puppet mouth that he's wearing on his face and stuff. It's terrifying.
That sounds awful. But I mean, like,
but this isn't a Mystery Science Theater podcast.
I guess it's not. It seems like it at times, but no. We're going to talk about what is it? Star Wars games? Is that what we
role playing games?
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So you set me up for this before we went on the air. So, Leo, what have you been playing?
I have been playing some Star Wars D6.
Up
until our last session, when we actually caused our GM to throw his hands up in defeat and ask us if we would just we could still get together every now and then and play something, just maybe not a role playing game. We'll just do board games. Or whatever.
Did you do to that poor man?
Well, I think, okay, so part of it is our schedule was like every other Sunday, right? But
like the movie on any Sunday.
Yeah, I guess. What's that?
Wasn't that one of those football movies from the late 90s that everyone was like, oh, kids are gonna like lay on railroad tracks and get run over?
I don't know.
All right, carry on.
I missed that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was too busy watching Starship Troopers in the late 90s.
On repeat.
Where was I? Oh, yeah. So it was a combination of the fact that our schedule was every other Sunday, but still, like, at least, like, 2 out of every 3 of those Sundays, we would have some kind of scheduling conflict where someone couldn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
So we wouldn't end up playing. Right. So we ended up playing like once every like 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of it. It's like, I mean, anybody who has run a campaign knows that if you can't play regularly, it's hard to get into a rhythm and to keep not even just as like a GM, as a player too. It's hard to get into your character, and like when you come back, it's like, okay, we haven't played in like 2 months. What were we even doing? Who is my character? Yeah. What are the rules of this game?
Which game are we playing again?
So it was partially that, and also partially the fact that we all were rolling so bad that we were constantly derailing his plans.
Wait, you rolled so bad you derailed? It wasn't like, I'm going to turn left.
No, it was stuff like, oh, well, let's go to where we're going. And then like our astrogator rolls like a 3. And like minimum astrogation, like base difficulty is like a 15. So then it'd be like, oh, well, we just went off course, and our hyperdrive's broken, and now we have to do we can't continue with the story because we have to do a whole side and it takes like 2 or 3 sessions for us to get our hyperdrive repaired, and when you're only playing like once, that's like, so like we're basically making no progress in this story he had for us because we're too busy taking care of our own ups, on our way to try and discover the story, and to where he was all like, "Yeah, this just isn't. I don't think this is going to happen."
Wow. That sucks.
So, yeah, well, it's the way it is.
So he couldn't even blame you, the people, all that much, from the sounds of it. It's not like you blew up his dungeon.
A little. But, so, it's partially that, and just partially the fact that, like, it just, our schedules weren't working, so it was just like, he's all like, let's just try and we'll still, like, gather and play some other games, because, and that's the other thing, it's like, we would end up only playing we actually only played maybe, like, an hour or 2 every session.
Yeah.
Because, like, we would all get together, and then we would probably spend, like, at least an hour just, like, about whatever, it's like I think one day we talked about Babylon 5 and Stargate for like 2 hours instead of actually playing. So
yeah, that seems about right.
So it was like and like that's what we were all saying. We're like, we're all really enjoying just hanging out, but maybe we just hang out and not play the game.
That, sometimes that's just the best option. It's the best you can do. And in this day and age, not just like gaming in the age of COVID, which I feel like that's going to be a movie before too long. Like there was a movie, Love in the Age of Cholera. We're going to have gaming in the age of COVID. But, adults, adult life, that in itself is difficult to work around. I have been lucky enough to get to play D&D with the Encounter Time crew once every... I don't know how many months. And we are blessed with a patron, The Beard 1808, in chat. Happy to have you here. Just talking about what we've been playing. We've been playing some RPGs. Leo was nice and regular up until recently. And I guess you could call regularly once every couple months regular, if not frequent, for me and the Encounter Time crew. But hey, you can stay up to date with all of our comings and goings at Encountercast, I think, Encountercast on Twitter, and on your favorite podcatcher. So, at the very least, you can follow along with that. But I've not done any Star Warsin' recently. Although, I'm happy to say, Joe did send me his extra Grievous miniature for Legion. So I've got this guy. I've got Grievous. I've got who do I have? I've got Count Chocula, and I've got Cad Bane. So I've got all commanders and operatives, 0 battle line units, core units for Confederates. But that makes Christmas shopping easy. I just need 4 boxes minimum of B1s, right? Yeah.
I like in our patron chat, someone was bragging that they once got a group to meet 2 weeks in a row. That is very impressive.
Wow, 2 whole weeks. That is crazy talk.
You probably weren't even actually role playing, otherwise you wouldn't have been together for 2 weeks. That doesn't happen.
I mean, you can't count going to work, seeing the same people at work, every week. That's not the same thing. I've talked in the past about how lucky I was that we had Monday night D&D, or Monday night RPG, and I got to run a couple of modules of Edge of the Empire, like some of the first ones, and then we rolled from that into D&D, and we rolled from that into what did we do? We did some... we were doing Blades in the Dark. And, of course, that was all pre-COVID, and when that hit, it was just like, well, goodbye, I'll see y'all in a year.
I do miss not having, like, children and stuff. It did make getting together for these types of things easier. I mean, I love my kids and all, but...
Yeah. But let's be real here. Real talk.
Yeah.
No, I understand. I get that. Well, you know what? Maybe one of these days when Liam's falling asleep, he'll say, "Hey, Dad, someday teach me how to roleplay."
Well, I don't know.
Okay, great.
He's asked me to, like, he's mentioned, like, teaching him how to, like, paint minis and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, he only asks me. Yeah, it's like there, as he's, like, laying down to bed, sometimes he'll be like, "Dad, you should teach me." And it's like, okay, well, you gotta ask me sometime, like, during the day when we can do this.
Yeah.
Or, like, when I'm not busy doing something else. He never does that. So, like, someone's all like, I think he's just doing that to, like, try and, like, get you off his back and make me think that he's, like, into this stuff.
Well, the next time he's playing Roblox, you tell him to, hey, we're gonna do something with our hands. We're gonna build something and be creative.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Is now over the pandemic, he started to connect online with all of his friends. One of his friends has a Discord server now, and so they're online chatting with each other all the time. Like, who the spends all day long in a Discord server?
You know who does? White supremacists.
Not me.
Nope.
That's for sure.
We have work to do. Speaking of work, I'm sorry. This was too good of a segue. It wasn't. But people that have been doing the Lord's work are the people over at Edge Studios. And you know what? I'm sure I'll just be painted as a whiner or something like that, because I have to say that even though Edge Studios, the inheritors of all of Fantasy Flight's RPGs, most especially, or most notably, the Star Wars RPGs, they didn't have, like, they had a placeholder website for so long that it was just like a joke of like, hey, is Edge's website up yet? Nope, it's not.
It was just sort of like one of those like 90s like landing page type websites where it's just like, we are a company that exists. The end.
Here's our links page. Email us at angelfire.biz.edu.gov. But now, after maybe a month of going from We Love Games to coming soon, now Edge Studios has a full actual website with Star Wars stuff and Genesis stuff and Legend of the Five Rings.
They had an actual news post where they mentioned... They've had a couple of actual like news posts where they mentioned Star Wars. First we had a couple... by this point, it's probably been like a month ago or so where they were like... They're like, here's all the we're reprinting.
Was it even that long ago?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a good story. Go for it.
But yeah, something like that. Doesn't matter exactly what time. Yeah, and so like that was cool to be like, okay, well, I guess they are actually finally reprinting things. So it was. At the time, we were sort of all like, yay, I guess, but...
Yeah, yay, I guess they're going to keep printing things that they never should have stopped printing.
Yeah.
But it's not just, hey, we're going to reprint. They've got on their actual website, and to go along with their website, they have social media presence where they have said, we've got all these games, and also we are rededicating to the Star Wars RPG that you know and love from Fantasy Flight. Like, they've said, here's the old stuff, and we're working on more.
Yeah, that news post where they did finally say, like, hey, we are working on new stuff was, I mean, it was exciting. It's interesting that, like, well, one of the people they've got working on it is, what's his face? A former Fantasy Flight guy.
Yes. So I'm pulling up the article from Edge from the 15th of October. Let's see here. Edge Studio is proud to announce it will be producing a role-playing game set in the famous galaxy far, far away. Edge, as part of the Asmodee Group, is now an official licensee of Star Wars role-playing. So it sounds like there was some, I don't know if
licensing holdup.
Sure, that's the best way to put it. I was going to say renegotiation, but just licensing holdup. You're right.
Well, like I said, I'm sure it wasn't necessarily renegotiation so much as I'm sure that they had to be approved in some kind of way. That, like I said, I was like, well, how come Atomic Mass didn't have to go through this? But then I remembered they've already got a relationship with Disney by virtue of them doing Marvel Crisis Protocol before that. So the road to them being approved to do Star Wars was probably much smoother than Edge, who didn't have any kind of a previous relationship with Disney.
And it just occurred to me, as you mentioned that, of their previous relationship, not even that, but they got Simone, who was the rep who talked directly to Lucasfilm Licensing.
That's true. She was like the Lucasfilm licensing rep at Fantasy Flight before she became AMG's. Was she head of studio? Is that her position there?
Her current one, yes. I think that's correct. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, you're 100% right. They got off on two right foots right off the bat. Edge, I'm sure with every time Edge put out a Facebook post about, hey, look at this original IP that we are bringing back for D&D 5e, the most popular RPG system right now. Every Facebook post was just, what about Star Wars? And they couldn't give an answer until, I'm sure, every I was dotted and every T was crossed. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad they didn't try to, be sly about it.
Yeah, I do sort of wish it was one of those things that, I wish it was possible for them to talk and just say hey, there's probably stuff coming. It's just legal things we need to work out. But because they're legal things, they probably can't just,
Yeah, they have to watch what they say. They don't want to lose out. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs from here. I'm just going to skip a couple. So the one that you mentioned about someone formerly of FFG joining the crew at Edge, the paragraph reads as follows. Edge will be exploring some of the many eras of Star Wars, revisiting old classics while venturing into exciting new frontiers of the setting. The studio looks forward to building on the legacy begun with Fantasy Flight Games, who launched the wildly successful Star Wars role-playing game Edge of the Empire. Sam Gregor Stewart, the formerly developer on Edge of the Empire and now the RPG manager for Edge Studios, said he is looking forward to revisiting the Star Wars galaxy. It follows up with a quote from him, which is definitely worthwhile, but I just want to jump to the end. I just want to just read off to folks what they can go to edge-studio.net and read for themselves. The last paragraph says, with the licensing deal reached, Edge is also working to ensure reprints of existing Star Wars role-playing products will be available to fans around the world. For more information on reprints and for other news and upcoming Star Wars products, be sure to follow Edge on social media and the website, as the website is expanded and enhanced in the coming months. So there you go. And I think one of the things that I've noticed is that there are always people in other countries who are asking, hey, is product A, B, or C gonna get translated for me? Even if they probably can read and speak English better than we can read their language. Edge has an edge in that they were a translation studio first, a localization studio first. So more people in more countries could be playing the FFG RPGs very soon.
Yeah. So the guy I was actually, though, talking about wasn't even the one in the I guess even in the article. I was actually talking about Max Brook.
Oh, yes.
He's going to be working on it with Edge, isn't he? I thought I had read that.
You know what? You're probably right. I know I've seen him on Twitter, so I am going to look that up. Because I'm sure it'll say, hey, Max Brook, creator of new Star Wars stuff.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like I said, I swear I read that Max Brook was going to be working on some of this Edge of the Empire or not Edge of the Empire, just the Star Wars role-playing game with Edge. But I could be wrong.
I know he definitely had a hand in the upcoming Adventures in Rokugan, which is L5R using the D&D 5e system. Oh, here you go. Oh no, that's him mentioning that he worked on Ashes of Power, which is this year's free RPG Day offering for Genesis Twilight Imperium, which is also super rad. So, yeah. Oh, he retweeted, blah, 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 blah. And while you're there, okay. Somebody else saying, hey, check out the free RPG Day.
Mm-hmm.
In any event, I really hope you're right, because so many, some of the first new things coming out from this studio are going to have his name on it. So even if we can't find a source right this second that says, yeah, Max Brook is, leading the charge with the rest of Edge Studio.
He definitely already has a relationship with the studio, so it's a possibility.
Yes.
One thing I did find interesting with their announcement, and it's the one of the paragraphs you skipped over, is the quote from is it Giles Garnier? Ooh. I'm not sure how you say his first name. Gillis?
It's probably Gilles. Gilles
Garnier,
who's
the head of Edge Studio. I don't know. Although, aren't they Spanish? I guess he doesn't necessarily.
You know what?
He doesn't necessarily have to be Spanish.
But
I believe the studio is based in Spain, aren't they?
He should come on the show and set us
tell
straight.
us how.
Yes, exactly.
But anyways, his quote. He says that we want to follow in the footsteps of FFG's fantastic work over the years while bringing our own vision of what a Star Wars RPG should be, which that's the part that I found most interesting and what could possibly be cause for concern. I mean, it could just be your normal speak where, obviously it's a new studio doing it. They're going to do things slightly differently than Fantasy Flight was going to. Mm-hmm. But at its heart, it's still going to be the same game. But, that particular quote also sort of leaves the door open for more drastic changes. Mm-hmm. I guess I wouldn't, I'm not going to be sort of like, every time there's some sort of change with one of the minis games, all the people are like, oh my god, they're giving us another edition, they're scrapping the whole thing. Like, I don't think that's good. You know, like, I don't think that's necessarily what's going to be happening here, but, you know, it's one of those things where we could see some kind of an overhaul of the system. Like, you know what I would love for them to do is just publish a single combined core book.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
You know, give me the edge, age, and force rules all in one damn book.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing that always bothered me about that is you buy these 3 core books, and in reality, it's like 75 to 80% of the text is all like overlap between the books, or close enough to where you could just combine them all together.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back on it, 2013, 2014, and 2015, we literally spent $60 pretty much the same time every year to get pretty much the same book with a few different things.
I never did buy the Force and Destiny book. I was sort of annoyed by the time that core book came out.
We didn't even make a point of grabbing the beta book in the subsequent years. But but I'm also not someone who bought every single X-Wing at release. So I didn't have that, you know, on my conscience. I was like, you know what? I'll buy the same book over and over again.
Yeah, I'd rather have them, or even just have them rework it where you can buy just a generic core book, and then there's a smaller source book that does have those bits that are unique to Edge of the Empire, that are unique to Age of Rebellion, etc. You know, so
yeah, I think that'd be phenomenal, and I would have really liked. Well, it could still happen that they started to just do Star Wars RPG instead of, this is the Edge of the Empire RPG, this is the Age of Rebellion RPG, and the Force and Destiny RPG. You know,
you started to get the books with the like black gray covers, you know, that were just sort of like, I don't even want to say system because they're all the same system, but I guess era or like, because they're not even really different eras either.
They were source books.
I don't know. So, core book agnostic. There we go. They were all, those books were all sort of core book agnostic. Which I'm hoping we see more of. I'm hoping some stuff we'll see, like where they mention exploring what is it they said about like exploring some of the many eras of Star Wars, revisiting old classics while venturing into exciting new frontiers, which I really, really, really hope means High Republic.
Yeah.
High Republic books.
I was gonna say they did a really good first step. FFG did with the Force Awakens beginner game, because it did mesh all 3 lines into one starter box, and then nothing really came from that. So my brain was thinking, yo, give us the post Return of the Jedi era, but you're right, and we've talked about this a little bit before. That High Republic era. That's
I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't be opposed to getting sequel era source books or Mandalorian era source books. They got to be thinking about doing like some kind of like Edge of the Empire Mandalorian book.
Oh yeah,
they've got to have that in the works. But for me, what I really, really want is the High Republic out of everything, which is really funny because I'm definitely on record many, many times complaining about Jedi-focused stuff and how...
Yes, exactly. I've been wondering that same thing.
But, I mean, the High Republic is fantastic.
Wow. I haven't gotten through book 1 yet, so I can't say anything.
What? I honestly, I couldn't put book 1 down. I just plowed through that one.
Okay, so here's a question for you. It's not even a question from chat, but it's an idea that spawned a question. The Beard said, I'm gonna start calling you Coach Beard for the Ted Lasso people out there. So Coach Beard says, High Republic would be a good one for Jedi-centered players. Can be adjusted for more powerful Jedi. But what about the other two lines in High Republic? You got scum people, and you got military-minded people.
I mean, so there's not... I mean, obviously there's not much of a standing military at this point in the galaxy. But, I mean, there's non-Jedi characters in here. I mean, I, for one, want, make a Geode character. I don't ever have to actually do anything. I just sit in my chair and let the game happen around me.
And you don't have to do any accents or animal noises.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's like that whole shipping guild / smuggling guild that, they were part of, those characters. There's those, those repair people that everyone seems to love, who I can't even remember their names.
I mean, you can make something up, I'll believe you.
Yeah, Bip and Bop. That's just the first two sounds that popped in my head.
There's a fast food Korean place around here, Bibimbap. We'll have to take you there.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty good.
It's got to be better than the bibimbap I got when I was in Vegas here a couple weeks ago.
What?
We went to like this Korean barbecue type place, and I got that, and I was like, that's not very good.
Oh.
It was like fine. Honestly, that was mostly my food experiences. Like we went to like one or two places that turned out to be really, really good.
Uh-huh.
And most of the places were like,
Oh, because no buffets.
We did go to a buffet
finally.
On our last day there. We went to a buffet, and that was pretty bad.
Oh no!
Well, it was like okay-ish. Like there was some stuff that was all right. Most of it was like it was fine, but it wasn't like $40 a person fine or whatever this buffet was.
Wow.
Yep. The trip through the distillery was great. Had lots of good booze there.
Oh my. Man, I have been thinking about if we just did when we finally get to do another drinky cast. Like this is a Star Wars drinking podcast. Hey everybody.
I'm drinking my Four Roses tonight.
Oh, good on you. That single barrel is mighty good. Where was I? Oh yes, Plan 2.
Mm-hmm.
Edge has so many places they can go, and a legacy that they are sitting on. That man, if it had just poofed out and gone away, like one of the best systems, I think we can pretty much agree. Like not even just Star Wars systems, but the narrative dice system itself.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
good.
I'll admit I've not used just the generic Genesis or even like their altered like L5R system. Mm-hmm. I've not played those, but I just based on my experience with the Star Wars system, which is they're all essentially the same with minor tweaks.
Oh, they are, yeah.
I love it. I think we've said it before. I think it's personally for me, I really enjoy it much more than a lot of the other systems out there. Like you said, it's right in the name, or I don't even know if that's an actual name. It's just what we've called it is narrative dice system. I don't know if that's actually like officially used anywhere, but I mean right there, that just tells you all you need to know about it is the dice are designed to make a narrative with every roll. Mm. It's not just a pass-fail kind of thing where like you get with something that's just pure numbers. Like D&D or whatever. Or even as much as I enjoyed that system, it's the same thing with like the the D6 system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the most part, it's just pass or fail. And like, I don't know, I guess me, like, I don't consider myself to be a great role player.
You say but
like I enjoy doing role playing games, but I don't think I'm all that great at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think having the dice give you a nudge, so you could sort of say like you look at the dice and you know, okay, I failed this, but I had some advantages pop up. So even though I failed, a good thing happened, and you can invent, a story with those dice then. And it gives, I think, players who need that extra nudge, it gives it to them and gets you more immersed in the game and what's happening. And so, yeah, like you said, it would be really sad to see, I think, this system end before we get materials for some of these really great eras, like we said, like for the High Republic, for sequel stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, for things from The Mandalorian, for eventually some of the other stuff we're going to see where we're going to get more looks at the New Republic as it is before the sequels happen.
Yeah, we need those sweet stats for Kazuda Xiono.
No, we don't.
We don't? I mean,
no.
He's going to have so many, like, story points? He'll have, like, the worst stats in the world, but he'll have 1,000,000 story points, so he can just, like, flip the narrative on a dime in his favor. That would be Zane Carrick, too. Worst stats, 1,000,000,000 story points.
Yeah, but when you flip those, then it gives it... Well, actually, that would apply really good to Zane, because when you flip those to give yourself better luck, it then allows the GM to flip them back in his favor, too.
Yeah. And that's why his classmates were murdered. And yeah, so Edge is also... They're not just doing Star Wars. In fact, of the sections on the website, the Star Wars section is still the one that is, like, coming soon. Because I'm sure they have, like you said, they had a lot to do of, like, getting everything recertified through licensing. And they have the biggest library of products of all their titles. Because they've got two lines of L5R and Genesis and Midnight, which is like an old FFG title that they're bringing back. And even The End of the World, that weirdly cool sounding game where you, like, play yourself, I think is how that works. Like, the world ends in different ways with each game, but you just play yourself. You and your friends are just like, I'm playing Evan, how do I handle the end of the world? But yeah,
that'd be kind of funny that, like, you do that and, like, your friends are like, bullshit. If this actually happened, you would never do that. You'd shit your pants. You'd shit your pants and pass out. That's what you do.
I'm gonna roll the dice. Oh, my dice are really good. You shit your pants, and then that's just the next 3 hours. It's just no, you shit your pants.
Your mom shits her pants.
Your mom. So yeah, the Star Wars section is going to be huge, but they're building a lot. There's so much in that line. But in the meantime, they've got the Genesis, they've got everything else up, and they are continuing with all these lines that they have, not just the Star Wars. They're not trying to make like, oh, we're the Star Wars company. So, I mean, they've got a lot going. It sounds like they've got a great studio. I really hope that we get to hear like the voices of some of the individuals from the studio. Like we've rattled off a couple names already, but I really hope we get to learn some names of some returning people, some new people, really get an idea of what they are building as individuals. Because and I've held off on kind of saying this, but obviously we're looking for Atomic Mass Games to do something with Star Wars besides the occasional tweet. And we're not... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I feel... I guess, heartened by the fact that they've posted, like, I mean, granted, this is just L5R stuff so far, because they haven't really got into actually doing the Star Wars things yet, because they only just got their license all set up. But looking at their L5R stuff, they've been putting out articles about them. You know, like we would have expected to see from Fantasy Flight back in the day.
Yep.
So, you know, I feel like we're going to get, you know, like that kind of stuff from them as they start putting out the Star Wars role-playing books.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right. They're not shy with putting out articles about the L5R stuff that they've got coming out, and you know, both old stuff that was just in hardback and now is available finally on Drive-Thru RPG. They're like, we know you waited a long time, here it is. And they've announced a new hardcover already for it, one that we hadn't even heard about before, besides the D&D 5th edition L5R book, which is the first one of those in, like, what year did Oriental Adventures come out for 3rd edition? Like 2002, 2003? Not that it was the best version of Rokugan, or that Rokugan is particularly great for East Asian representation, but in any event, yes, you're absolutely right. They got a lot coming. And in case people can't tell, I'm so excited. This is probably the most alive I've sounded on an episode in so long.
Yeah, that's why like we had to wait a little bit to talk about this, because we had to make sure it was going to be, like, if Joe can't make it, whatever, we don't care. But Evan had to be here for the role-playing episode.
Yes, I had to be. And speaking of Joe, he is actually trying to mastermind maybe some new Star Wars RPG programming to be coming out of the JodoCast studio in lovely Burbank, California. That's a lie. But yeah, like we're stoked that the embers of Star Wars.
Now I want the beginning of the episodes to have, like, the American Gladiator thing, you know, at the beginning when they were like, when it would, like, be playing the theme music and the guy would be like, live from Universal Studios in Burbank, California. I thought you
were going to say Star Wars is filmed before a live studio audience. No? Okay. That would be great. I like
the American Gladiators idea better.
I do too, quite honestly. You went to the much more powerful direction. But yeah, I mean, I could just sit here and go on and on about how stoked I am, because I love every single thing they're doing, and I'll even, you know what? I'll give Midnight its fair shake. I will take a look at it. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's a cool third-party addition to D&D 5e. But you give me that L5R, you give me that Star Wars, you give me more Genesis, because they don't have too many Genesis books out so far. We got Twilight Imperium still on the way. It's coming. And, oh yeah, tons of free stuff. The Edge website has all of the free materials for Star Wars, for Genesis, for L5R, all the free stuff that was sort of scattered all over the FFG website. is in one spot now. You just go to the Edge website, you go to the resources page, and it's all there. Tons of free stuff. So you can try out all these systems. It's so great! I'm losing my mind! And Leo was just like, yep, we're done.
No. I like seeing you excited about the stuff. I'm excited too. I'm just less animated about it because the thing is with me is like I said, I don't think I'm a very good role player. So like I get excited about role playing games, but then I don't play them a lot. And then when I do it so badly that I make my GM quit. So.
That's kind of how I am with miniatures. I'm like, oh man, did you see this new miniature? Yeah, what are its stats? I have no idea.
But yeah, so it's like I will probably end up buying some of these books, and then they're gonna go on my shelf with a lot of my other Edge of the Empire books, and just never get used much because finding time to role play is always really tough too.
It is. It really is. Even tougher than like, hey, one friend, come over and play X-Wing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is like for like a Legion or X-Wing or whatever, I only have to coordinate with one person.
Yes.
I mean, and that's why I have actually, since, we've been able to get vaccinated and stuff like that, I've actually played some Legion. I've actually played some Armada. Which, by the way, I've bought a Super Star Destroyer now, so I need to play more Armada. I had as soon as I found out about when we found out about the price hikes happening, I told my store, I was like, order me one of those right now before the prices go up.
So, I love it. I bet they were happy. Yes, sir. Can I put you down for 2?
Yeah. So yeah, because you're only coordinating with one person. I mean, and that's why like I haven't played. Like I bought the new Dune Imperium board game, which I've heard is fantastic.
Yeah.
I haven't even taken it out of its shrink wrap yet because I haven't, been able to put forth the effort to get 3 or 4 other people together to play it with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm scheduled for my booster shot next week. Or no, not next week. Tomorrow, in fact.
Oh, I was gonna say good.
Yeah. I'm getting my booster shot in Indiana. You didn't even know that. So
it's like, what do you want to do today? I'm gonna get my booster shot.
Yeah, we tried to. Both me and Mandy are getting it tomorrow. We tried to schedule it early enough to where if we do have any like ill effects, they should be out of our system, but and we should be good to go by the time we get to Indiana to see you guys.
Excellent.
I'm even, not only am I getting my booster shot, but I'm getting my beard trimmed up a little bit for you.
What?
So I look, at least somewhat respectable.
I thought you just like braided up and like put some.
Well, but see, that's the problem is all this stuff here.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. I mean, you can kind of see it on me too, just poking out the side.
This part's not going to get touched too much. I might, trim up the ends a little bit. Some of these split ends and stuff,
Well, you probably didn't see it. They showed off a new Warhammer miniature. It's a pirate ogre who's got like in his beard are like fuses, so he just like pulls off a fuse out of his beard and puts it in his gun, and it's like, hey, do that for next Halloween. It's pretty great. Your boys could be your little goblin sidekicks.
Could be.
Anyways, when I start talking about Warhammer stuff, that's like the signal to wrap up. If Joe was here, he'd be like, "So, good night, everybody."
He'd be like,
"Yeah, no Warhammer, no that." So yeah, I keep thinking like, yeah, we'll make time to record a podcast live together next week, but knowing us, that's not going to happen. So maybe you'll just get the dulcet tones of Joe. I don't know. I don't know, folks. But we should probably wrap this up. I don't even know how long I've been yammering on, but A goodly amount of time. That's how long. A goodly amount.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Leo, very much for making sure this discussion happened. It's truly appreciated. I don't just have to think about it by myself all the time. I'm like, yes, RPG!
I really hope that that's just like how your inner monologue always sounds. Just like exactly like that voice.
It kind of is. Kind of is. Especially when I get a new bottle of bourbon, I'm like, ew, bourbon! Yep, you're tired of it. Okay, so, and thank you to patrons for making this possible. Thank you, Coach Beard,
Thanks to
1808.
viewers like you.
Yeah, viewers like you. And I can't even think of what other foundation. The Joe and Bethany Foundation. Yes, thank you to everyone that makes this possible, and all the listeners who are very patient with us. And we will look forward to talking with you all again, hopefully very soon. And stay cool, America. I just do it for those Leo looks. Okay, good night.
Bye.